Moment, the city is just bracing themselves for another repeat of what we saw last year with Cyclone Pet. At the moment, we know that according to the Meteorological Department, they say that it's not as yet been upgraded to a tropical cyclone. It's about 650 kilometers off the coast of Karachi, off Sindh and Balochistan. At the moment, it's still being called a depression, which is a strong weather system. Now, they say that the different weather factors over the eastern Arabian Sea and in the coastal areas of Sindh, Balochistan make it quite likely that it actually does turn into a tropical cyclone. If it does, they say that we should expect light rains by Friday evening, heavier rains by Saturday and Sunday, and if it does in fact turn into a tropical cyclone, Karachi could be seeing winds up to 100 to 130 kilometers per hour.
Right, Shahryar, how severe is the threat of the cyclone, and have the fishermen and people living in those coastal areas adhered to the warning taken by the authorities, and are they actually adhering to the precautionary measures that have been directed to?
Well, you can't really predict exactly what the severity is, but it's best that one really heeds the warnings that are coming out from the National Security Agency, the Maritime Security, as well as the Met Department, which are saying they're telling fishermen that if you're out on the open sea, it's best that you come back as soon as possible. They'll try and have boats going out there to alert fishermen who are out in the open sea, and they've told other fishermen not to really go out on the sea. Now, we've talked to different fishermen, and they are treating this quite lightly, as we saw last year. They say that, look, we've heard about threats like this before in the past. We haven't actually seen anything that's serious enough for us to either get off the seas or even evacuate from our coastal homes. So again, they can't really predict how strong it's going to be. As yet, it has not been upgraded to a tropical cyclone. Once they can tell you that it will indeed be a tropical cyclone, then they can tell us what category of storm it is, and then they can warn the different people according to that.
Right. Also, Shahryar, what precautions, if any, have been taken to avoid damages by the cyclone?
Well, at the moment, we can't really see any precautions that have been taken down as yet. Last year, if you remember, before the cyclone hit, a lot of places that were near the coast were basically the billboards that were all around town had been removed, because with high winds comes the chance of billboards falling off, and when you have about 100-foot billboard crashing onto the street, it can cause a lot of damage. Now, another issue that we saw last year was flooding from the heavy rains, and as a result, a few deaths occurring from electrocutions. So the different authorities in the city are really going to see how can they best prepare the city to basically try and prevent any deaths from electrocution and things like that. But other than that, you can't really warn people other than keep them off the water and keep the fishermen and people who live right on the sea, keep them as far inland as possible.
Right, Shahryar, thank you very much for those details. Our correspondent Shahryar Mirza giving us the latest coming in from Sindh, as the cyclone is about 650 kilometers off the coast of Sindh and Balochistan. No information yet as to the severity of the cyclone. We will be finding out more as soon as more information does pile in. However, warnings have been given out, and fishermen at the deep sea have been directed to come back by tomorrow. Moving on now to learn about the cyclone developing in the Arabian Sea, its intensity and the path it is going to take. Let's cross over to our correspondent Saeed Ali in Islamabad.
Since yesterday, we've been receiving reports of a weather system developing into a cyclone towards and putting the coastal regions of the country at risk. Now, right now, the weather system, yesterday the weather system had not turned into a cyclone, but the Met Office, Pakistan Met Office, after looking at their reports, issued a warning to fishermen who were out at sea to come back before any dangers develop for them because of the weather system. And to learn more about this phenomenon, however, we are with the Director General of the Pakistan Meteorological Department. This is Dr. Arif Mahmood. I want to ask you, you have a diagram over there. Can you show us through that map what the path of the cyclone will be? Just a general idea to our viewers, especially what the path of the cyclone.
Actually, the well-marked low pressure is now existed in the central Arabian Sea. And its track, as a different numerical weather model predicts, that its track will be towards northwest. And therefore, we hope that from the evening of Friday, we may receive light rain along the Sindh coast, and on Saturday and Sunday, we may receive moderate to heavy, rather very heavy rainfall, along with gusty wind of 80 to 100 knot along the Makran, Sindh coast and Makran coast. And from 30th, from Monday, the situation will subside, and then weather will start to coming to a normal position.
Dr. Saab, you said that different models with different numerical values were giving different results of where the cyclone would hit. Now, what I'd like to ask you is, there was also talk that the weather system might actually move towards Oman or towards India. Is there any possibility of that, or is it coming straight towards?
It is too early to say that where this will landfall. However, the all model predicts that its movement will be in northwest direction, and we hope that tomorrow evening or in the morning of Friday, the situation will be clear that where will its landfall will occur.
Sir, cyclone is a very buzzword. Usually people expect a natural disaster when they hear of such a weather phenomena. Do you think there is any cause for concern as to any risk to damage or risk of damage to life or human life or property?
Definitely, as you remember that the last year in these days we have a fat tropical cyclone. This cyclone caused a very heavy rainfall along the Makran coast. We received more than 300 millimeter rainfall in Jiwani and Gwadar. And similarly, the wind speed was more than 80 to 100 knots. And similarly, we also received heavy rainfall of about 150 millimeter in Karachi, Thatta and Badin. So definitely this is very high amount of rainfall, and due to this rainfall, definitely we may fear that there may be some damage of property and life.
Well, that was the Director General of the Pakistan Met Office.